Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett. A happy Memorial Day weekend to all. On the show this morning, the issue of race in the city of Boston. We'll save a discussion on that topic for a little later. Also on the show, a Boston-based network launched to advance Latina leaders into positions of power and influence. But up first, for the past 3 decades, the Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition, also known as MIRA, has been giving a voice to refugees and immigrants from all over the world who made their home in New England. These are people who have raised families, built careers, started businesses, and have become engaged in contributing citizens and community members. Now, as MIRA turns 30 this week, they would like for you to be part of their big celebration this Thursday at the Fairmont Copley Plaza Hotel. The event is called Give Liberty a Hand, and it will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. Honorees include Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey. Now, to give us all the details about this Thursday's festivities, we've invited Liza Ryan. She's organizing director for MIRA, and also Marion Davis, the director of communications for that organization. Welcome to Urban Update. Thanks for coming in. Glad to have you here today. Before we get started to the celebration and everything, congratulations on turning 30. MIRA, that's quite an accomplishment, doing all that work for all these years. Pretty proud.
It's pretty amazing.
Let's talk about some issues that MIRA has been working on recently. I think I saw formal opposition for deputizing law enforcement as ICE agencies. Could you talk a little bit about that? I don't know who wants to take that one on.
Sure.
We've heard, I think this has come from Washington, law enforcement agencies being deputized to work to really round up the immigrants and turn them over to the federal authorities. Now, that's something that you're strongly opposed to.
Yeah, and there's a number of reasons why. So now, when the executive order that the Trump administration signed right after the election, that was, most people heard about building the wall and the travel ban, but there were actually many paragraphs in the middle that included in expanding enforcement or creating full force multipliers. So the Trump administration not only wanted to hire a much larger immigrations and customs enforcement agency, many more officers and agents. Now that's a federal job. The federal government is in charge of deporting and detaining undocumented immigrants that are on the interior. Just kind of like how the IRS, which is a federal agency, is in charge of collecting our taxes and not our local or state municipalities. They would like, in order to do their job to deport the millions of people that they would like to deport, they need to have more bodies. So they want to co-opt the local and state police in order for them also to act as ICE agents. Now, we see some major issues with that because our local law enforcement, especially here in Boston and in Chelsea with Chief Kais, they don't want to do that because it's not their job, and they're also not going to get paid for it. So our local state tax dollars will go to doing a job that the federal government is supposed to be doing, and we shouldn't have to pay for that.
But isn't there also a trust issue? Because I know a number of police chiefs over the years that this has sort of been a discussion in the public discussion have said that a lot of police chiefs have said, look, we need people in the community to trust us. Now, if they think we're going to be rounding everyone up, people, immigrants, are not going to come forward and with information about crimes and criminals. Isn't that another part of all this?
That's a really, really big concern for the police, and this is what we keep hearing from police chiefs, especially all over the state, and also we're seeing it nationwide. If the crime victims feel that if they come forward, the police are going to turn them into ICE, or if a witness doesn't want to, is afraid that they're going to be turned into ICE, they're not going to come forward. And a lot of immigrants are already afraid of the authorities. And if they actually see police going out there and helping out ICE and helping round out people, that's the end. And one of the things that we've seen a lot is, a lot of this enforcement right now is being justified as, we have to fight back the gangs. If we want to fight back the gangs, we need people in the community who know who the people in gangs are to feel safe coming forward. So that's a huge concern for public safety.
Now, another MIRA issue I understand is bilingualism. You feel that it's an asset in Massachusetts schools should be promoting it, and I guess how do you aim to do that?
So in 2002, there was a ballot initiative that the people of Massachusetts voted to make English immersion the only way that you could teach English language learners in schools. And that means that you're in a special classroom and a teacher who is specially trained teaches you in English, regardless of whether you speak a little English or not at all. And that works for some kids, but for some kids it's really terrible, and they can fall behind by years in math and science and other subjects.
And you have a bill in the legislature that would essentially take us back to when they could have bilingual education in schools.
Right. This bill, actually, there's a bill that just came out of committee from the Joint Committee on Education, and it's now with Ways and Means. And what it would do is it would allow schools to make the judgment for themselves of whether they want to just do English immersion or also provide bilingual education. And the other really cool thing about this bill is it would create a statewide seal of biliteracy, which recognizes that being bilingual, and not just speaking two languages, but being able to write in two languages and really function in two languages, is a huge economic asset for the state.
Okay. Now, what about Support Safe Communities campaign? You've got a campaign for that? What's
We
that all
do.
about?
So that, as we were talking about this anti-287G, which is deputizing local and state police to act as ICE officers, the Safe Communities was a response to what we were hearing from the community, which was with all of the anti-immigrant rhetoric and really hateful kind of space that has been created, both nationally and also here in Boston and in Massachusetts, that we needed to really create legislation that was going to make the immigrant population in our state not feel safe, like no ICE agent could ever come at them, but ensure that they were going to have the basic civil liberties that every citizen, that every other person, and every resident in Massachusetts has. So what the Safe Communities Act does is has three provisions. It says we should never have a Muslim registry or any type of registry based on someone's religion or other type of protected identity. Now, that happened after 9/11. There was a Muslim registry in the United States that was totally unsuccessful. So we're saying we don't want to have that ever happen in our state again. We don't believe that's okay. It also says we don't want to deputize local and state police, and that we shouldn't be holding people illegally in violation of the Fourth Amendment. So the only thing it does is uphold our Constitution.
Okay, all right. I want to, in the remaining moments here, I want to get to the party that you've got coming up on Thursday, the event you have. Can we have some more information on Give Liberty a Hand?
So this is our annual fundraiser gala, and this year it also celebrates our 30th anniversary. And the whole theme of Give Liberty a Hand is that these are people who, by helping to advance civil rights or helping to advance immigrant integration, they are giving liberty a hand. And in this case, we have a woman who has really just been fabulous on this, a champion of civil rights, Attorney General Maura Healey, who has been, since the Trump administration came in, she has been a leader at saying Massachusetts is not going to participate in violating the civil rights of its people, whether they're native-born or immigrants. We simply will not do that. And she has also come out and said, for example, if you are a worker, you are entitled to protections from labor laws, even if you're undocumented. And if you're a student, you're entitled to an education. If you're a patient and you show up in the ER, you're entitled to get life-saving care. So we think that she's just done an amazing job, and we want to celebrate that. And the second honoree that we have is Jeff Busgang from Flybridge Capital Partners. And he has been a real champion of entrepreneurs who are immigrants, and he created a really wonderful program also that enables entrepreneurs to come here from other countries or who graduated and work with universities.
All right, and you can still get tickets. Where can people get tickets?
You can go to miracoalition.org.
Okay, all right, well, good enough. We'll leave it right there. Liza Ryan and Marion Davis from the Massachusetts Immigrant Refugees Advocacy Coalition, 30 years old. Happy birthday, congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, coming up next, the issue of race and the city of Boston. More information on that right here on Urban Update.